Vice President Kamala Harris has recently faced scrutiny over her evolving stance on fracking, a process that has long been a contentious issue in discussions about climate change. Fracking, or hydraulic fracturing, involves drilling into the earth and injecting liquid at high pressure to extract gas and oil from shale rock. While it has significantly boosted energy production in the United States, it has also been linked to environmental concerns, particularly the release of methane gas, a potent greenhouse gas contributing to global warming. In 2019, when Harris was a senator and a candidate in the Democratic presidential primary, she was a strong advocate for aggressive climate action. She co-sponsored the Green New Deal, a sweeping proposal aimed at addressing climate change through a transition to clean energy and significant reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. At that time, Harris was clear in her opposition to fracking. She publicly stated, "There is no question, I'm in favor of banning fracking." This position aligned her with the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which was pushing for bold measures to combat climate change, including a federal ban on fracking. However, during the 2020 presidential campaign, Harris's position on fracking began to shift. On the debate stage and in interviews, she clarified that she did not support a federal ban on fracking. Instead, she indicated that while she still believed in the importance of addressing climate change, she recognized the complexities involved in transitioning away from fossil fuels, particularly in states like Pennsylvania, where fracking plays a significant role in the local economy and energy production. During a key debate in 2020, Harris stated, "No, I would not ban fracking as vice president, and I will not ban fracking as president." This shift was seen as a pragmatic move, likely aimed at balancing her commitment to climate action with the political and economic realities of key battleground states. It also reflected a broader strategy within the Democratic Party to appeal to a wider electorate, including voters concerned about job losses in the fossil fuel industry. As of 2024, Harris has maintained her position against banning fracking, stating that her values regarding climate change have not changed, but that she believes it is possible to fight climate change without a federal ban on fracking. In a recent interview, she emphasized that while she continues to view climate change as a critical issue, the approach to addressing it must be balanced with other considerations, such as energy security and economic stability. Harris pointed to the Biden administration's achievements, particularly the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, as evidence that significant progress can be made in reducing emissions and investing in clean energy without resorting to a fracking ban. The Inflation Reduction Act, which includes substantial investments in renewable energy and efforts to reduce carbon emissions, is seen by the administration as a key component of their climate strategy. Harris also highlighted her role in casting the tie-breaking vote in the Senate to increase leases for fracking, further solidifying her stance that fracking will continue under her watch. She argued that investments in clean energy and the creation of new green jobs can coexist with the continuation of fracking, suggesting that the transition to a clean energy economy does not necessarily require an immediate or total ban on fossil fuel extraction. Harris's current stance on fracking has drawn criticism from environmental activists and some progressive Democrats who argue that more aggressive measures are needed to meet climate goals. Critics point out that while the administration has made strides in promoting clean energy, it has also expanded oil and gas production, including new leases for fracking on public lands. They argue that without curbing the supply of fossil fuels, the U.S. will struggle to meet its emissions reduction targets and play its part in addressing the global climate crisis. David Sirota, an investigative journalist and founder of The Lever, recently criticized Harris's claim that the Inflation Reduction Act alone can meet the administration's climate goals without the need for a fracking ban. He pointed to data suggesting that while the act has helped reduce emissions, it is not sufficient to achieve the targets set for 2030. Sirota and other critics argue that more stringent policies, including limits on fossil fuel extraction, are necessary to prevent the worst impacts of climate change. Harris's position on fracking underscores the broader challenge facing the Biden-Harris administration as it navigates the complex intersection of climate policy, energy production, and economic considerations. While the administration has made historic investments in clean energy, it has also faced pressure to ensure energy security and economic stability, particularly in regions dependent on fossil fuels. The debate over fracking and fossil fuel production more broadly will likely continue to be a central issue as the 2024 election approaches. Harris's stance reflects a broader trend within the Democratic Party toward balancing climate goals with political pragmatism, but it also raises questions about whether this approach will be sufficient to meet the urgent demands of the climate crisis. In conclusion, Vice President Kamala Harris's shift on fracking from supporting a ban in 2019 to opposing it in 2024 reflects the evolving political and economic landscape surrounding climate policy in the United States. While Harris remains committed to addressing climate change, her current stance suggests a more measured approach that seeks to balance environmental concerns with the realities of energy production and job security. As the nation moves forward, the effectiveness of this approach in achieving meaningful climate action will be closely watched by both supporters and critics.